Are you packing a renegade phone? Just perhaps. A day after its landmark win over Samsung, Apple is seeking an immediate ban on 8 phones made by the Korean tech giant. The company's flagship Galaxy S3 isn't on the list. Well, it's not yet. For more on this story, let's go straight to Reuters' John Gordon in Hong Kong. John, Samsung's flagship product, the S3, as I just said, not on the list yet. Right. Will it be on the list anytime soon?
I think Apple's lawyers are busy trying to make that happen, but of course it came out after this lawsuit was filed. The S2 is on the list. That's the little brother to the S3. It comes in 4 carrier varieties. Those are all meant to be banned. And this actually could hurt quite a bit more than the S3 at this stage, because this is a good little cash maker for Samsung. It has really high margins because it's been making this phone for so long. But Samsung has countered. It's also requesting that the judge lift the preliminary injunction on the Tab 10.1. That's the iPad-type tablet device, because the jury had said that was in fact non-infringing, one of the surprising results of this trial. But you got to also take a look at some of the previous activity we've seen, for example, with the Galaxy Nexus. You know, there was some talk about it being infringing, and Google there was really quick in terms of updating it to be non-infringing. So we may see that precedent with these Samsung devices.
Okay, well, it's not all champagne corks popping at Apple. Its partner Foxconn has just had pretty grim earnings numbers, yeah?
That's right. They're a key partner there for Apple. They build a lot of the different products there, and they have just put out some pretty horrific numbers for the first half. But actually, it's not about Apple for them. They do work with a lot of different manufacturers, and they saw really terrible orders from, for example, Nokia. Now, you remember they've moved on to start making Windows mobile phones. So that tells you how that's going. But shares of the company are down 8% intraday. The outlook is actually okay, depending on if you believe in the story. Foxconn will hopefully pick up more of this smartphone ODM work, original developer manufacturing. And also they've got the iPhone 5 on way, presumably the Apple TV if that rumor pans out, and also the iPad mini. So hopefully good things ahead for Foxconn, but just a really bad number.
Okay, John, thanks very much. Other headlines on Reuters this morning. Crédit Agricole says quarterly income plunged by 67%. The French lender took a €427 million hit on its stake in Italian bank Intesa Sanpaolo, and earnings at its Greek unit also weighing on results. And AstraZeneca has poached a new boss from rival Roche. The appointment of Pascal Soriot ends 3 months without a chief executive for the company after the sudden departure of previous chief David Brennan. The latest now on the Eurozone crisis, with ECB board member Jörg Asmussen clarifying some details of the bank's upcoming bond buying. The ECB will only buy short maturities on the secondary market, and ideally only after the region's rescue funds intervene on the primary markets of those countries requesting aid. For more, I'm joined by Simon Derrick. He's head of currency research at Bank of New York Mellon. Simon, more clarity from Asmussen, although the details are still being worked out. From what he said, would the markets be satisfied with that?
Well, I think in terms of what the market's been expecting, obviously there's been ever-increasing expectations and ever-increasing rumours about what they might and might not do. At least we're getting clarity. I think that's the important thing here. And what we're really doing is going back to what really we're being told by Mr. Draghi immediately after the meeting earlier this month. I think it's good news. It also means that the pressure is really now on Spain to actually go and start talking to the FSF and ESM. I assume that they are doing, but obviously I doubt we're going to get any details until we get the Eurogroup meeting next month.
We'll come to Spain in a second, but I just want to pin you down on the euro. One of your peers was in that seat last week, said the euro's going to 130 and above effectively on the Draghi put. Is that something you would go along with?
I'd be a little more cautious about that, and I think that's because we got more than just the ECB decision taking place here. In particular, we've got the Greek story building up. Now, that's going to hang over the markets at least until October 18th when we get the EU summit, and arguably it could hang over the market for the rest of the year. So I can see the positive aspects of what Mr. Draghi is doing, but I think that the euro positives for that will be marginal. I think back to the way the LTRO worked out, it was a marginal thing at the end of the day.
Very quickly, we're at 125 now on the euro. 120 before we see 130?
That would be my guess, yeah.
OK, let's finish up on Spain. We've got a bill sale today, Q2 GDP revised numbers, and Herman Van Rompuy meets Mariano Rajoy. Is this all pointing towards Spain requesting a bailout? And if so, when?
I think that it is, and I think that we're probably going to be talking about it after the Eurogroup meeting in early September. Remember that they're probably going to need some funding by October, so it's going to be sooner rather than later.
OK, Simon, thank you very much. The top world news stories on Reuters this morning. 7 years after Hurricane Katrina, New Orleans is once again preparing for the worst. Tropical storm Isaac is bearing down on the US Gulf Coast and threatening to come ashore as a full-blown hurricane. Landfall expected late Tuesday or early Wednesday, and evacuation orders are already in effect in some areas. Offshore oil production also disrupted. That's it for now. I'll leave you with our pick of the day, which is also hurricane-related. A bedraggled-looking protester braves the rains on the first day of the Republican convention in Tampa, Florida. The event now getting into full swing after the first day was cancelled due to the storm. I'm Jamie McGeever. This is Reuters.